All right, we are really close to startup. In fact, we're ready here for startup. Turn the light on. All right, we're ready to start the first one here, and I've got my taco valve wired up. So it's got blue for common and yellow coming from the relay panel, which is essentially the thermostat and indoor unit. And then the red gets energized by the taco valve after it opens completely, which all of that should have already taken place. The only thing I haven't done is actually turn the water on yet. So I don't have that on, and I don't have the disconnect in yet. So I'm not going to put power to the outdoor unit until I watch the water run. So I'll show you a little bit quickly about how that taco valve wires up, and it's just coming in here with my high voltage. So what I've done with it, and this is the wire right here to the taco. It may be taco, we call them tacos. So the common obviously ties with the common on the system. Then the yellow right here, which is coming from the indoor unit, the air handler and the relay panel, thermostat, etc. This is your hot for Y1. This is a two-stage, so yellow is Y1, and the brown wire right there is Y2, which is right next to Y1. So this yellow gets its hot, supposed to be going to here, but we're breaking it through the taco valve. So this yellow runs over to the taco valve, energizes the valve, and because the valve is slow opening and slow closing is why it doesn't give instant voltage, in order to let the heat exchanger on the Geo unit fill with water or have water flowing through it. So then it comes back as that red right there and goes into Y1, which it's already done because I hear the contactor energized. You may actually hear it too. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the water on and watch it flow and kind of let it flush for a little while. Now we did flush one of these, that one, into a bucket just to make sure there wasn't any garbage or sand or granite, whatever, as little as possible, because there's no filter in here yet. And we're trying to make sure none of that's going in our heat exchanger. So we did flush about 10 gallons, but I'm going to do it again through the pipe system, and I'm going to watch it run. And then I'm going to go stick this restrictor in the line outside. Now this will all be temporary today as far as what's outside. Now what's inside we're going to finish and be done with, but outdoors, that restrictor I'll hook on and slow it down to about 3.5 gallons per minute per ton, and then we'll just hook a hose to it and run it down through the back of the yard and let it discharge until we get our trench filled with the exact piping we're going to use exactly over to where it discharges into the pond. But right now they need heat to keep moving, so we're going to get this cut on in just a minute here. All right, I think everything is ready to go. Took this out, which I almost forgot, and I just happened to see that tag hanging there, and we're all familiar with that. And nonetheless, so I pulled the top off right quick and reached in there with a wrench, and then I saw that I actually could have reached around that plate there and got it. But nonetheless, the shipping bolt is out and it's ready to start up. So like I said, before I put my restrictor in, I'm going to see what happens if we run some water through it. So far so good. It won't be anywhere near that loud once it's restricted. It'll be moving a lot slower. That's full. That's as much as will go out that 3/4 discharge right there. Obviously out this one And we can tell the valve's open, so let's go look outside and see if we are getting an abundance of water, and I bet you we are. So Lord, I hear it. Good gosh. How can that much water get out of here that fast? So now you see why I'm going to restrict it. For one thing, it's just a waste of water, but for another, I don't think we'd be able to run both units and take a shower. So I'm going to get a restrictor on this, and we've changed the position of our, this is where the trench was going, and he's taken his bobcat and made me a spot here. And I'm going to trench straight up through there out to the pond. So for today, I'm going to take one of these adapters and hook a garden hose to this and run it down there somewhere and just let it eat down that way. I think I need to go cut this off right now. We're making a mess quick. I mean real quick. I'm not sure what'll go through a 3/4 pipe, but the well was a very good yield well. I'm trying to remember if it wasn't even maybe 48 or 40 something gallons per minute. It's a good bit. So let's cut that off. Let's get our restrictor and our hose pipe on. And at that point, we'll put the disconnect in and go upstairs and check out some temperatures and see what we get. Okay, we're ready to start up the compressor unit. I don't know if you can hear that, but the water's pretty quiet now that we've got it restricted. I actually hear the buzz of the contactor louder than anything. So the water noise is pretty quiet, and I'm happy with that. And so we're ready to go ahead and start this thing up. And after it runs a couple of minutes, it should be pretty quiet as well. So let's see where our, it's not the 30, not the 50s. He must have put a 50 on it. Or is that a 40? No. Those are 30s. Yep. You got a 50 on it. So I guess that's what he had. Hopefully he'll change that to the 40 it should be. Okay. She's running. Let's go outside and see how much water we're getting out of the restrictor, and then we'll go upstairs and check out that noise level and the temperatures and everything. So you can see what I did here is, and one thing I didn't have was the little rubber gasket in the end of our garden hose. I don't know where that went, but this is all temporary, keep in mind, because this will go straight down into the ground, and we'll have one of those water meter boxes here that everything's stored in with unions and restrictors, and then everything will go straight that way. So what I did was just put the hose on it, and looks like it's dripping up there. It's not a big deal. So and I laid the hose out here. Boy, that's a lot of water. And that is after the restrictor. And that restrictor, I believe, was a 10 gallon per minute. That won't be our final. You know, we'll take several measurements when we tune this in the end, and temperature readings, and we'll dial this thing in to when it's in the second stage, of course, to the maximum performance. But for right now, we just want heat in the house. But that looks like more than any 10 gallons a minute to me, but that's what the restrictor said on it, I believe. So let's go upstairs and see what kind of heat we're getting out of it. It's going to be a nice house when it's done, I'll tell you that, but that's probably still 60 days or so away if I had to guess. Alright, I've got it in test mode for cooling stage 2 right now, because that's the highest airflow that we're going to get. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but all the work that went into that duct system appears to be paying off. It's hard to believe it's even on, but that's 4 tons worth of airflow. I think we've got it set at 370 or 380 CFM per ton on cooling. She's quiet as a mouse. I can probably afford to raise it to 400 if I want to. Just not so sure we're going to need that. I don't think it's necessary. She's quiet. So let's get it back in heat and start taking some temperatures. Okay, we've tested heating, cooling, and everything. I'm pretty happy with it, so I've got my temperature probe up there in a supply duct, and I've gone back to heating now because that's what I'm going to leave it in. And the water's quiet. Here we are right next to the water line. And here we are right next to the unit, and like I said before, I'm keeping these cardboard covers on until I leave. That way customer is looking at a nice new machine. So, very quiet. I'm very happy with that. This is the valve that's open, and I don't even hear any water. So this is how geothermal open loop should be operating. I think if I stick my phone against it, you can just barely tell it's running. Nice and smooth and quiet. I'm very happy. So let's go upstairs and see. It's probably had, I don't know, about 15 minutes to run in the in the heat mode. I'm sorry, took it out of the cool mode. Just wanted to check the drains and everything. So I ran cool for a while, tested the subcooling. Even though I weighed in the charge, I just wanted to see what everything looked like. So we should be able to see pretty good what it's putting out. Taking in 61 degrees, that thing's going to be pretty accurate. And you can hear how quiet that is. This is one of those jobs where, sorry about that, where nobody interfered with me, and I was able to do everything my way, and she's quiet as a mouse. Putting out 96.4 degree air, So if you do the math, taking in 61, and that's 30 plus degrees. And the beauty of that is, obviously, as it gets up towards 70 in here, it'll be putting out even better. .5. Pretty happy with it. So never did get it to make water. It's not real humid today. It's kind of cold, but there's the two. If you can see them sticking out of the wall there's the two drain from the bottom and the top, two condensate drains. So anyway, it is definitely quiet and efficient, and I'm very happy with it. Quite sure the customer is going to be happy with it once they live here. This return is also very quiet. They're both 20 by 25s, and we've got the cheap filters in the grills because we have a whole house filter, MERV 11, on the air handler itself. So I will probably do a final video after the house is finished. Everything's filled in on the control, the Wi-Fi is on, the bottom floor is done and up and running. But as for now, at least we got to see the startup, and they can go ahead and bring their wood in here and start acclimating for this top floor to get its wood. So until we get here to do the last final little brush ups when they're ready to move in, this is what we're leaving them. Pretty nice house, about 3,000 feet just on this one floor. I tell you, it's definitely a pretty nice place. So I think we can still see the water going out there. There's my temporary discharge out there. So nonetheless, I really appreciate you watching. I know this was a long video. Some of you may have watched the first part that came all the way from rough in to trim out, and now here we are at startup, at least one of them. So I'll do another one when they're both running and we're moved in and we're actually discharging through the trench into the pond down there. So thanks for watching.